Hello, welcome to Tech Turks. Today I have Chy Onwuka on the show. Chy Onwuka is the founder of FabricsNg, a textile platform that connects suppliers to end users like fashion designers. So, Chy, welcome to Tech Turks.
Thank you very much for having me.
How did it start? Why did it start? And where is it going to?
I noticed a very big gap one time I wanted to buy fabrics. And I think the most frustrating experience was when my sister was getting married years ago. And then we had to walk around in the market. It was just horrifying, honestly. And in the end, you couldn't really say you got what you really had in mind when you went there, because after the whole stress, you just end up settling for something. And I was wondering, why didn't we just have something that was more structured? You know, in Western countries, you have so many, nobody's even talking about like the kind of disorganized things that we have or non-structured markets that we have, and then it was just very difficult. So that made me look into the situation.
Just a question before you continue.
Okay.
So what was your background? So were you in the fashion industry or were you in the tech industry?
No, my background is finance and accounting, but I was actually working in banking.
Okay.
Yes. So
one of us,
yes. So yes, that was my background, and yes, it has nothing totally really to do. I think the only thing I could say that I brought, which was really, really important to, was the experience of structuring a business and running a business. But it is what I was doing and what I'm doing now totally different.
You had this challenge, and then so how did you go about starting FabricsNg?
So I had some friends who just used to talk about how everything was hard in Nigeria, difficult in Nigeria. It was just really annoying. And then one thing that I really like to do, I like to look for a very simple way of doing something. I'm kind of like a lazy person. I'm always looking for how best do I do this thing. And even though I'm very lazy, I also want that thing to be very excellent. So I still want it to turn out superb.
So you're not lazy, you just think the easier way to do some things, right?
Yeah,
so
but you know, like how our culture here is like,
you can use your time to do other things.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like,
so yeah, now that's what they say about technology. Let technology do the work, and so you can have time to think.
I just don't see the sense of difficult things really when you can make it easier. So, and then I called up, so I started searching to see what was obtainable in other countries and stuff like that. So I started seeing how people are using technology to make the textile industry very easy. You even have people right now that are using blockchain technology to make textile sourcing and even manufacturing very easy. So I called up my friend that was a senior software engineer, and we started working on it, and that was really.
Were you doing this part-time before you started doing it full-time? How did you get your funding? Friends and families, or you went to a bank and they said, yes, we'll help you
Which
start
Nigerian
this dream?
bank? No, it was really personal funding.
Okay.
Yes, family funding. So that was how we started. Yeah, so we didn't have any external funding. We still really haven't had external funding yet. So the monies that we had are kind of external, like money that we want from grants and competition.
So tell us about the grants. So this competition, before we get into the numbers of Fabrics.ng.
Okay, so we're one of the finalists or winners for She Leads Africa.
Okay.
So it's in partnership with Work in Progress Alliance. So FabricsNg was one of, as I said, the finalists and one of the winners. So we had like little money that you could use to
keep the wheels turning. To keep the wheels turning and advertising. Yes. So let me ask a question. What's the customer journey using Fabrics.ng?
Okay, so the idea is that within 5 minutes, if you come there, you should be able to get any fabric you're looking for. Well, as long as we have it. We have like over 1,000 different fabrics on the website. And how you really did, it's not really, the funny thing, we've changed. Like, we keep listening to the market and keep tweaking. So our product now wasn't what we actually originally launched with. So when we originally launched, because I was an individual and I had that frustration, I created a product that was kind of like me, and the people that I took surveys from were individuals like me. So the product then was kind of like tailored towards individuals. Our main target market are actually those apparel companies and businesses that use textiles. So interior deco firms, fashion designers, accessory makers, and things like that.
If I want to buy, I won't have to go to the market. So I wouldn't have to go to the market. I can come to your platform. And does your platform represent also sources from the marketplace, for example? So do you connect those market people to buyers who don't want to go to the marketplace? Is that how it works?
Yeah, that's exactly what we do.
Okay.
So that's exactly what we do. So we have different, we source from different places, and I said we don't actually stop these things. So we're trying to connect these people together. So they could be market people, yeah, but like you have to have like a minimum, so we don't want something like some orders like 100 or
Stock out,
200
yes,
yards. Yeah. You don't have that capacity. So you have to be someone that you have, so wholesalers, right?
Okay.
And then you also have like some few local manufacturers of textiles in Nigeria too, so they're on the platform too.
And so is this Nigerian fabrics, is it Nigerian textiles or African textiles that they're focusing on?
We have a mix. So we have the African-looking textiles like Adire and Ankara, and then we have those other ones from other countries that are not really made here, So, and then the funny thing actually is that most of our companies here want to use those foreign textiles, and then most people outside want to use like the African. So it's
how are you creating awareness, continuous awareness for people to come on your platform? So when I say busy, so how many orders do you take a day? You've told me 15 states, that's impressive, and outside Nigeria. But so what's the traffic like?
So currently now we don't really spend much money on advertising because the first year we're just a little over 2 years old. The first year we just really used it to learn the market. As I said, I wasn't like really into textiles, and then we saw that number one problem was even textile education. So people used to call the same things like a million different names, yes. So we had to start learning, doing a lot of work. So the first 1 year was really learning, and putting things in place. In fact, we launched prematurely because while we were setting up the platform, somebody saw us online and ordered. So we had to fulfill.
To deliver.
Yes, so we had to fulfill. So for how we make, so we have like the normal things, social media, people find us through Google, but marketing right now, no, we're not really doing that. So we're going to do that when we want to start scaling majorly.
So final question. So beyond being a platform, what else are you going to be doing? Because one thing for sure is that you're collecting a lot of data, you're collecting a lot of information, and so that should help you a lot in terms of know where the market is going to.
So I'm happy that you mentioned data. So one of our objectives is actually to gather enough data to help us to move into backward integration.
In the good old days, like when we started banking, we heard about how great the textile industry was, and suddenly it just collapsed. So, does the data give you insights into what happened and how you can ensure that it doesn't happen again?
So we have historical data for what happened, right? Which is really, really hurtful, really, because by the time you discover that, textile industry used to be the largest employer of labor after government, that is even more than commercial agriculture. Yeah. So that was really impressive. And the third largest in Africa. And then you just feel really bad about it, that things are going.
Because people are still wearing clothes and, people Ankara.
And the craziest thing, I think that was what motivated me the most, was when I found that like NTM, Nigerian Textile Manufacturing Association, their data says that Nigerians spend annually about $4 billion.
There you have it.
So that's crazy.
That's a good business to be in.
Just on textiles alone, not on fashion.
We're leaving this business. Yeah.
So and then you're like, so why are we not doing it here, right? So gathering enough data to be able to backwardly integrate, and then, but very short term, because of the designers we're working with and the companies, people want to customize lots of fabrics, and you want to go to somewhere like China or people that print. We need to do like a minimum of 1,000 yards to do that. But like we want to bring in digital printing into Nigeria, that you could print your own textiles, so design your own textiles. So that will create like so much more jobs for even designers. So you could just be like a textile designer. And
versatility and flexibility and even innovation of design,
Yeah.
Chy, thank you very much for coming on Tech Talks. It was a very interesting conversation, and we'll continue it offline.